Hello and welcome to another live broadcast in The Authentic Married Woman. I'm your host, Karen Seitz, and I am a coach and a mentor for married women. I teach married women how to re-engage with themselves and find themselves again, because so often in a marriage or in a relationship, we lose ourselves and we don't know who we are anymore, and we become unhappy on the inside. And then a lot of times we put that blame for our unhappiness on our husband or on our partner. So I teach women how to find themselves again as a way to save their marriage and have a happy, thriving marriage that they've always dreamed of. And today I wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about why the grass isn't greener on the other side of your marriage. I hear time and time again from my female clients who begin to work with me, or even a lot of the women in our Facebook group, The Authentic Married Woman, thinking that things would be easier if they didn't have all the burden of their marriage on them and all the things they're experiencing in their marriage, that if they were just out of that or single or in a different relationship, that all those problems would go away. And so I wanted to jump on and talk about that. And also, in the midst of everything we're going to talk about today, bust a myth that marriage is supposed to be easy. So that's what we're talking about today. And before I dive in to that material, I wanted to just remind you of the three principles that frame our Facebook group and frame the work that we do with women. And the first principle is that you are responsible for your happiness, that happiness is an inside job, that there is no one or no thing outside of you that can make you happy. And what happiness really means that will tie in to what we're talking about today. I used to think that being happy meant always having a smile on my face or always feeling on top of the world. And now what I know happy really means is that I deeply and fully accept who I am, and I deeply and fully accept my life, that I don't want to be anyone else and I don't want anybody else's life. And so we're going to be talking a lot about that today, and in terms of talking about thinking the grass is greener. And the second principle that frames our group is that you are the only person that you have any control over to change. I think we all know that at some level, but we really lose sight of it because we've convinced ourselves in our marriages or in our lives that it's our husband or our job or our family that's making us unhappy. And if they would only change, then we could be happy and things would be better in our lives. But that's again another myth we kind of buy into, or an illusion we have, when really if we want to experience change, if we want something different in our lives, then we've got to be the ones to change. And then the third principle is that being an authentic married woman, or just being an authentic woman, is really about having a relationship with yourself and feeling good about who you are. That when you know who you are and you bring yourself to the table, you bring all of you into your marriage without walls, just you open and vulnerable in a supportive and healthy way, that your husband will show up with you, and that's really what you want to focus on to solve the issues in your marriage, is not the marriage itself, not your relationship with your husband, but actually your relationship with yourself. And when you focus on that and you know how to actually work on your relationship with yourself, everything changes almost overnight. And then one more little thing that I like to remind our members and our listeners and viewers from time to time, that who we are here to serve are women who know or might wonder or think that they have walls up and that they are with good men, meaning the men that they married, when they think back to the man they married or they look over the years, that the man that they married is hardworking and responsible and trustworthy and predictable, that that's who we're here to serve. That if you're a woman and you have your walls up and you've maybe been unconsciously or sometimes consciously pushing your husband away, that when you let your walls down and you let him back in and he's a good man, he will step up with you in all the ways that you've been hoping and dreaming and wanting him to do. He will be right there with you. The hard part is that we have to go first. And that's what we teach. And those are the women that we are here to serve. And that really plays into what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. And I just want to say hi to those of you watching. And you can drop a line in the comment section to say hello or hi. And thank you for being here with me. So our topic again today is that the grass isn't greener on the other side of your marriage. And I know how easy it is when we're facing the issues in our marriage and we feel ignored or we feel underappreciated or if we feel like we're doing all of the work, we're doing all the housework, all the cooking, we're working full time, we're taking care of the kids and we feel all that burden of the relationship on ourselves and we're upset that our husbands are checked out or distant or they're not engaged. It's so easy to get into a place of thinking that if I wasn't in this relationship, if my husband was different, if I was just on my own, then things would be so much easier. All of these problems would go away, and I would finally have the freedom that I want, and I wouldn't have to deal with everything that I'm dealing with. It's really, really easy to get into that place and get disillusioned that the burden that we feel or the unhappiness we feel is happening to us. And that that's really normal and really common. But the problem with that is that what we teach and what you've been hearing again and again if you've been watching the videos is that happiness is an inside job, which also means that our unhappiness and those burdens that we feel, that that's also an inside job. And what happens in a marriage that gets us disillusioned thinking that it's our husband that's the problem or what he's doing or not doing, or it's our marriage that it's just not working. What happens is, and I talked about this a little bit when I jumped on, is that we get lost from ourselves. So if this is your husband and this is you, what happens in a relationship is we become enmeshed or we become entangled in each other. And from that place, we lose our sense of self. We lose our sense of what we like to do to make ourselves happy or to be engaged in our lives, and we begin to to feel maybe an emptiness or we start wishing we had a different life or a different relationship. And what inevitably happens is we blame that experience on our husbands because we think that that's happening to us, that our experience is happening to us. And from that place, I'm going to use a strong word, but we make ourselves victims. And what I mean by that is a victim mentality. We think that our unhappiness is happening to us from our external world. And from that place, we think that the solution is to just change our external world and all those problems will go away. But the real problem, what's actually going on, is that we've lost our sense of self. We're not connected to who we are. And from that place, we're unhappy on the inside. And our marriage is reflecting that back to us. But it's very difficult, if not impossible, to see that that's what's going on, especially without the guidance of someone helping you see that in yourself. So when we think the grass is greener on the other side and we want to get, you know, we want to be single, or we think if I just had a different husband or if I just had a different relationship, everything would be better. And what I have learned in my own experience of myself and in my life and in working with many other women and many other men too, is that the happiness that we get from changing our external world, like leaving our marriage and being single or getting into a new relationship or changing our job, whatever it is in our life, that's a fleeting experience. It doesn't last. And I talked about in a post yesterday, the reason why that is we're the common denominator in our lives. That if I'm unhappy in my marriage, inevitably I'm going to be unhappy out of my marriage because I'm the common denominator in my life, meaning I'm the one constant. And so I also said in that post yesterday that wherever you go, there you are. So if you're feeling the burden or you're feeling the unhappiness or you're feeling alone and lonely in your marriage or unheard or misunderstood, that the real problem is that that's within your relationship with yourself, that we lose sight of what we really need to be doing to validate ourselves, to understand who we are, to give ourselves the attention and time and care that we so desperately want from our husbands or from other people in our lives, that we've lost that connection with ourself. And so if I'm feeling that way in my marriage, and I've experienced this time and time again before I was married and had four other failed relationships, I thought leaving would be the answer, and then I would be on my own, and all those same feelings would come back. And then I would jump into a new relationship thinking the relationship would solve those things. So again, wherever you go, there you are. So all the things you're feeling in your marriage, you're going to experience those things on the other side. Or if you get into a new relationship, you're inevitably going to experience those same things again and again and again. And I had shared a quote yesterday that I really like in regards to this, and I softened it a little bit yesterday. But what it really says is, you are wrong if you think a new pair of pants will change your life, because the same skirt will be in the room. And this is a wonderful quote to kind of highlight that it's really that relationship that we have with ourselves that's the issue, and showing up in our relationships. But we again get disillusioned because we think it's happening to us, and we think that it's our husband or the man that we're with. We think it's them, and that it's the men. I always pick the wrong men, or I always get in the wrong relationships. And what we've really discovered through years of research, and what I've discovered in working on myself and working with other women, is really the problem lies within us. So I wanted to, before, and you're very welcome for the reminder. I can't ever see on this platform who's commenting, but thank you so much for engaging and participating. But I wanted to share a little bit um, about some things that I've heard from my female clients over the years who are single, who were married or in a long-term relationship and got out of the relationship thinking that that would be the answer. And I've kind of collected um, things that they've shared with me over the years of their struggles and their challenges. And I also talked to one of my past clients yesterday um, to prepare for this video and sharing with you. And she shared some wonderful things with me that I want to share with you now, just to kind of paint the picture of what things can be like when we don't do the hard work in our marriage to solve the problems there, and we leave thinking that that will solve everything. These are the things that women face in being single that we often don't think about. We often think, if I was single, I would have all this freedom, and I could have fun, and I wouldn't have to deal with my husband or my partner, and I could do all the things I wanted to do. And maybe then I would find the perfect partner who would finally treat me the way that I want to be treated, or love me the way that I want to be loved. And that's the illusion that we're creating for ourselves when we're not wanting to face the problems and face our life that we have now. And my clients have told me again and again that it's not all the freedom that you think it is. That think of all the things you share within a marriage, whether that's, finances, or the burdens of everyday life, the housework and car maintenance, and um, you know moving and getting into a new place or a new house, that all those things, then when you're on the other side, all of those things fall on you. All the car insurance, the health insurance, all the finances then fall on us. And my client that I was talking to, she was just sharing like little tiny things that we don't think about, that begin to pile up and create this big burden. She was sharing about, taking her car in to the shop, if she needs to leave it for the day, that she doesn't have her partner there to pick her up. She's got to figure that out for herself. And that can seem really small, but think of how many things there are like that in our lives, that when we're married or we have a partner, that we get to share those things with. And she was also talking about, she had a 42-inch TV, break and quit working, and she got a new TV, and she's struggling to get that TV out to her curb for the garbage to pick up because she can't carry it and get it out of her house on her own. And so there's and she also shared about getting new furniture, and getting furniture delivered. And if she didn't have anyone to help, what she had to go through to get those things set up. And so what we don't realize is that it's all those tiny little things that pile up and pile up. And then all of a sudden we're feeling the same burden that we felt in our marriage, because it's really coming from a place of us not wanting to take responsibility for ourselves and our lives, and having that relationship with ourselves, that we want someone else to come in and take care of those things. And she also had said that we get bitter because then we have to do everything ourselves again. So we think we have to do everything ourselves in our marriage, and then we get on our own and we have to do everything ourselves there, and that bitterness is still there. And then a lot of times we think the solution is, well, I need to find another relationship, and then that might bring that fleeting sense of happiness for a little bit, and then we end up with the same issues and the same problems again and again. And one thing she said that I quoted that was so great was, I promise you that when you are on your own, you will realize how much your husband actually did. Because when we're in our marriages and we're focused on all the problems and focused on all the issues, we're looking at all the things they're not doing, or all the things they're doing that we wish that they would stop doing, that we think are creating our unhappiness. And we can't see from that place, we can't see all the things that they're actually doing, and the things that we can appreciate them for. Because a lot of times unconsciously, we're collecting evidence to validate our unhappiness and why our husbands are the source of that unhappiness. So we're not seeing any of the good things. We're just seeing all of the negative things and all the things they're not doing. So my client was sharing with me that, if on the other side, she said she realized after getting out of her relationship, realized how much her partner actually did for her and actually did contribute, because she was so focused on all the things he wasn't doing. So again, she said, I promise you that when you are on your own, you will realize how much your husband actually did. And my clients have also shared with me that we think the grass is greener on the other side in our marriage or in our relationship, but then we're single. And then again, we think the grass is greener on the other side of that things would be better if we were in a relationship. And what that's showing us is that we want an easy way out of having to deal with the issues in ourselves or deal with the issues in our life. We're looking for something or someone external to come along and kind of give us a shortcut or an easy way out of having to take responsibility for ourselves and having to take responsibility for our life. So the real problem in all of this that I have found in my own marriage, and again in working with other women, is that I thought that marriage was supposed to be easy, that it was just supposed to happen, that my husband was just supposed to know all the right things to do, or all the ways to love me, or all the ways to care for me. And that we would, even though I would probably have kind of balked at the idea of happily ever after, and thinking that I would have this perfect marriage. Deep down inside, that's really what I thought it was supposed to be. That's really what I wanted it to be and what I dreamed of it to be. I'd never thought about and never realized the hard work that would go into it and the ups and downs of a marriage and working through the issues and growing together. I wanted it to be something different than it actually was. So it's understanding that when we want things to be easy and we want things to just happen, that we don't want to take responsibility to do the hard work to give ourselves the marriage and the life that we want. And the solution is to realize that it is hard work. It doesn't have to be hard. We make it really hard by putting the blame on our husbands and fantasizing about what things might be if we weren't in our marriage. That's how we make it hard. But it is hard work that it takes working on myself. It takes getting to know myself and having tough conversations to reach resolution for the issues in my marriage. And it takes going through change and going through losses in life, that you're not going to be the same person when you got married as you are 5, 10, 15 years down the road. You have to go through all those life changes together. And so it's a lot of hard work. And we don't think about that. So there's this myth that it's just supposed to be easy, that marriage should be easy or life should be easy. And what I am learning again and again and again, and what my clients are learning, is that no, it takes hard work. And it's in that hard work that we actually find the value in ourselves, that we feel good about ourselves and we like ourselves because we're working hard to give ourselves the marriage and the life that we want. That's how we build the happiness within ourselves. That's how I've gotten to a place where I really do just want to be me. And I just want my life, even with the challenges, even with my struggles and the things that I face that are difficult for me. I wouldn't have it any other way. And that's because I've gotten to a place where I'm working hard and I value myself. So I want my life. I'm not dreaming of what things might be on the other side. And that's where my clients get to as well. That when we embrace that hard work and we realize what we actually get from that, it no longer feels like a burden. It no longer feels like life or a marriage is happening to us. It's like, I want to be here. I wouldn't have it any other way. Just check my notes, see where I'm at here. Um, so the solution is that we've got to put on our big girl pants and we've got to start watering our own grass. That we've got to start doing the hard work and facing the issues and finding resolution to it, and recognizing that the problems we're seeing in our marriage are a direct reflection of the problems that we have in our relationship with ourselves. So if you're feeling like you're not getting enough attention or that you're unheard or misunderstood, that's because that's how you feel within yourself. And so it's important to learn how to do those things for yourself, how to understand yourself, how to give yourself the right kind of attention and do the things in your life that make you feel good about yourself and help you to value who you are. And I promise, just by focusing on that, and if you're with a good man, that's going to solve your marriage issues. It doesn't mean there's not going to be issues you need to work on, but I would say 90% of the issues and challenges that you're facing in your marriage can be resolved just by working on yourself and resolving the things that you're holding on to within yourself that limit your experience of your marriage and limit your experience of life. So when you do the hard work to feel good about yourself, that's where you become happy, and that's where you want to be in your marriage and have the life that you have. So just one more thing I wanted to share before I recap. So I wanted to share with you one of my clients' stories of where she came into and working with me, because she was definitely in a place of thinking the grass is greener on the other side. This was kind of her last-ditch effort to save our marriage. And she came in like, Karen, I really don't know if I can do this. I don't know if we can work these things out. I think it would just be a lot easier if I was on my own and could just start over and have a fresh start. And so when she came in to work with me, this was her description of herself and her marriage. And so see if you can hear yourself in this and relate to this. I feel all alone in my marriage. I'm tired of trying. I want a divorce. I don't feel like I can take care of me because I'm taking care of everyone else. I'm angry. I wear myself out. I have to make myself do everything because I don't feel like it at all. If I don't do it, nobody else will. I am resentful. I am cranky and not nice. I am sharp and growly. I'm a victim to my marriage. My marriage is a giant energy drain. And then after going through our strategy and her learning our strategy of how to have a healthy relationship with herself so that she could have a healthy marriage, on the other side of that, she said this was where she was after going through that process. I don't feel alone anymore. I have a teammate again. I am happy in my marriage. I am fully committed to my marriage. I'm really thankful for my marriage. I'm seeing the things that make my marriage wonderful. I am okay with exactly where we are, issues, problems, and all. I'm able to resolve conflict in a constructive way. I am soft and I have so much more peace. I am me. I am more myself now than I have been for 20 years. And she got to this place just by working on herself and working on that relationship with herself. And from that place, she no longer thought the grass looked greener on the other side. She wanted and wants to be in her marriage and is thriving in her marriage by finally finding her happiness within and doing that work to take her walls down. So just to recap what I was talking about today and what I wanted to come in on and share with you is why the grass is not greener on the other side of your marriage and understanding that the problems, the burdens, the issues that you're dealing with in your marriage are really a reflection of your relationship with yourself and the problems and challenges you have within that you might not be able to see because we put that unhappiness and the things that we're facing and the problems that we have on our external world, we go into that place of victim unconsciously. We don't do those things on purpose. It's just our humanness, it's how our mind works. But when we go to that place, we're disillusioned. We're not able to see the choices and decisions we're making or how we're showing up in our life, in our marriage that's giving us the exact experience that we have. So in order to solve those problems and be all in your marriage and face those things, it's to start to look at yourself and work on your relationship with yourself. And then you'll start to be happy and want to be in your marriage and want to have your life and just be you and stop fantasizing about what things would be on the other side, thinking that that would be the solution because it won't, because wherever you go, there you are, those problems are going to creep up again because, again, they're not happening externally, they're happening within. So when you decide to do the hard work and realize that marriage isn't supposed to be easy or life isn't supposed to be easy, it doesn't mean it's supposed to be hard, but that it does take hard work. And when you're willing to do that hard work in your life and your marriage with yourself, then from that place, that's where you value yourself and that's where you find your happiness within. So if you've been dreaming about the grass being greener on the other side, but you really love and care about your husband and you want to resolve the issues, you want to resolve the problems, then I would love to have a conversation with you and help you get really clear on what those issues are within yourself and help you come up with a step-by-step plan on how to turn your marriage around and finally have that connection with yourself and with your husband that you've been craving and the real solution to solving those problems and getting on the other side and and finally, again, having the marriage that you dream of. So it starts with a conversation. So if you would like to talk and would like my support and would like my help, you can private message me and we'll set up a free breakthrough call and get you crystal clear on the things that you can do to change yourself and work on yourself that will have a direct impact on your marriage. This is what I help women do every single day, and I would love to talk with you. If we're a good fit, then we can talk about what it would look like to work together. And if we are not, then that's okay too. You will get so much value from this call and getting the clarity. And I love doing this, so I would love to talk. Thank you to all of you who are watching and commenting. I appreciate you so much. And I will see you again next week. So have a wonderful rest of your week and a great weekend. All right, bye.